Since widespread protests began on April 18th in Nicaragua, we have seen over 300 people killed under the direction of Daniel Ortega and his henchmen. In Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro continues to rule with impunity, ignoring the pleas of the Venezuelan people for new leadership. In my native homeland of Cuba, Raúl Castro continues to call the shots as head of the Communist Party, all the while hiding behind the veil of the so-called transition of power. Under Díaz-Canel, nada has changed for the people of Cuba. Activists are still being held for days at a time. Las Damas de Blanco are still being beaten and arrested, and the regime continues to rule with an iron fist. More worrisome, Mr. Chairman, is that cooperation between these rogue regimes has actually increased. Just last week, there were reports indicating that Maduro had a shipment of weapons to Ortega to help him further suppress and silence the Nicaraguan people. Instead of using the country's resources to alleviate the Venezuelan people's suffering he caused for his failed policies, he sends weapons to his crony, making him complicit in the deaths of so many in Nicaragua. But this U.S. administration has shown a willingness to lead and hold those abusers accountable, in stark contrast to the previous administration. And I thank our witnesses here for explaining all that has happened. We've seen a reversal of the disastrous Cuba policy. We've seen a more active use of sanctions, particularly the global Magnitsky sanctions in Nicaragua and targeted sanctions against the Maduro regime in Venezuela. On 2 occasions, I have led letters urging sanctions on several Nicaraguan regime officials for their roles in the human rights abuses being perpetrated against the people of Nicaragua. The administration has included most of these individuals on the global Magnitsky list, but I intend on sending another letter shortly with more names. And the administration has begun to provide assistance to Venezuelans who have fled to neighboring countries and has signaled that it will make freedom and democracy in the region a priority. But more must be done. And you had explained, Ms. Lynch, about what the administration and specifically USAID has been doing to support the Venezuelan refugees who are in Colombia and Brazil. I wanted to ask you about Ecuador. What help is being given to the Venezuelans there? The Vice President Pence was just there. So what more can be done? And secondly, I worry about China's growing presence and influence in the entire region, using its resources to bully nations, to further isolate our strong ally, Taiwan. And what is the administration's strategy then to counter Chinese aggression, to help Taiwan strengthen its relationship with its partners in the region?